Whatever time it might be for you guys, welcome back to the Homeowner Series on Middleburg, New York. I'm your host, the Rattle Man Buck. We have a lot on our plate today, so I'll give you guys the quick little intro, and let's roll the content. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Homeowners Series, we have done quite a few projects, which you can find in the top right-hand corner in the playlist. But we're heading on our way down to the City Hall because we have to get some building permits today. As stated in the last video, we were trying to decipher on the love it or level it that if I was going to construct a new backyard hobby shed or something along the lines of restoring and refurbishing that house. Well, the votes are in and it's going to be easy. We're going to build a hobby shop. So I got to go get two different styles of permits, one being the build permit, the other one being some curbside permits. We do, however, have to get on the phone with 811 because we're going to have to check where all of our previous electrical, utilities, sewage, all of those hookups and lines, we're going to have to find out where those are, get those flagged before we start digging. Because the last thing we need to do is hit a power line buried underground, and then all of a sudden, I become the next George Foreman fried chicken. You guys are going to have to forgive me. I'm usually very on top of this. I did not get to mow yet. The house has just way too much work to really justify redoing it and then relisting it. So things like this electrical are going to have to be rerouted as the shed that I'm looking for only requires an electrical hookup. We got some good news. 811 has showed up and he's going to start getting to work on looking for all of our utility lines. I'm going to do myself a favor and get the yard cleaned up. And while we're doing that, I'm going to get on the phone with Kevin because I'm going to need to borrow his skid steer again. We're going to try and save as much money with this as possible. Looking at Home Depot, there are some trenchers as well as my favorite forestry mulcher that we're going to need to use to tear up that yard so we can get everything leveled off for the foundation. But let's get the yard cleaned up first, and then we'll head down to Home Depot afterwards. If you guys do like the Homeowner Series and you would love to see more in FS25, I would absolutely love for you guys to head down below, give yourself a like. Daryl, since when did you start working for 811? You have some explaining to do, buddy. But I am on the race to 100,000 public subscribers by the end of this year. I'm very positive that with FS25 on the horizon, we're really going to be able to make a big stride to the end of the year. But that is for luck and you guys to decide. Sending off the 811 guy, we're going to make our way over to Kevin's, go and grab the skid steer. Then we will also make a trip to Home Depot to grab the rentals of the equipment we'll need to either trench in our new lines or to mulch up the remainder of this yard that has been now covered in shrubbery. I always got to give it to Kevin, man. He comes in clutch. Daryl is obviously another really great AI. But let me know down below in the comment section, guys. I've asked it before. Who is your favorite of my made-up AI characters? Daryl has been the first on site and on scene always. We also know the butt end of the joke is Corey, the one who's always technically screwing up. The real-life Corey, however, is actually a really awesome dude that he's based off of. The only reason I say his name is Corey is because he looks, I kid you not, exactly like him. But last and certainly not least is Kevin. I don't know what it is about this dude, but I have met so many Kevins in my life, and not one of them has ever been a bad guy. I've never met a bad Kevin yet. Going out to Kevin's, though, is always a little bit of a fun trip because of just the scenic view that you get of the countryside. Kevin also has done his time, and he lives out on what we'd like to call a very nice, very manicured acreage. It's amazing how good of condition he actually keeps this thing. It's got at least over a couple hundred hours on it already, and it just still looks like brand new. Probably because he's using the world's greatest farm soap, that being Andy Clean. Andy keeps my farm and all of my house supplies, even in real life, actually really, really clean. So if you guys don't know who Andy is, go check the man out. His link's in the description down below. In theory, I did actually stop. I did not go through the intersection. There is well enough room on this trailer, though, to actually accommodate the other supplies I'm going to need. So we're going to run to Home Depot first.
A few moments later.
To tear down this really worn out house, I'm really kind of torn because I could just rent an excavator, but I know people with excavators, and I'm curious if I were just to pay them in fuel as well as the shipping costs, if they'd let me borrow them. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that first, and we'll see whether or not that personnel would allow me to. Our first container has also arrived, meaning we got some work to do. At this point, we've just been dunging stuff out of the house, throwing it in the bucket of the skid steer. But we also took around the little forestry mulcher, so that way we could clear up all of those really big overgrown shrubs. But the place already looks significantly better. We're going to tie in our electrical because I kind of want to try and reroute something from the house panel, as that's a 200 amp system. And I want to bring that over to the shop so that way I could have a welder, I could have big electrical things. We have enough power. Just finishing up our pickup schedule with waste management. We got both of our massive containers out front, as today is demo day. I had to spend a little bit of an extra penny because not only am I renting old Spencer Hilbert's Linkbelt, but I'm also renting his expertise because I am not that great at running this thing. He tried to teach me how to do it one time, and let's just say, Spence, it's all you. So we're going to, while he's starting to work on dismantling the upper structures of the house, I'm going to try and finish up with things like getting the meter taken out, the bench thrown away, start working on getting the AC components taken out, and then we can really start the demo process. Sadly, this is Farm Sim. We're not going to get a whole bunch of this action in, but I will try and at least showcase to you guys something related to construction. So let's get the old construction process started, and we'll catch with you guys when there's a little bit more content to work with. Now, Spencer, if there's one thing about this dude, is he's a very stubborn personnel. So he's been teaching me how to run this thing. I've been learning how to do the grading a little bit better and operate a lot smoother. Still not as good as him, but I'm working on it. Finishing up some of the last parts, though. The house did not have a basement, so we didn't have to worry about filling in any huge holes, which is uber so convenient. But I'm going to do my best to finish out grading away at the foundation area so we can make sure the footings for the new garage are going to be as level as possible. we are going to have to redo the curbsides for the garage entrances and this sidewalk. Just because of the way the layout of my new garage is, these are going to have to be redone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's one of the biggest reasons that I was concerned I wouldn't get it past the zoning board, as well as just, you know, the city council in general. So the last thing we're going to do is get underneath the sidewalk panels with the link belt, drop those into the containers, and then we are set to start working on the footing areas. Come here, you. Totally only renting you. With our concrete guys soon to arrive, I want to showcase to you guys kind of what our building is going to look like. This is a 40 by 30 shop. I believe the pad itself is actually the 30 by 40 because the building doesn't look that wide. It might be closer to about 25-ish. Staying within our easement as well as a couple other regulations for zoning. I can't build a whole wide driveway because that water line goes right through this ditch. So I'm only restricted to building as wide as those doors go. The building only costs 40, but we apparently only have 60, so that's not enough. Might have to go and work on with the banker a little bit because I think our foundation might cost a little bit more. I'll run down there, get that situation figured out, and then by the time we come back, we should hopefully have a building up and running.
3 weeks later.
I'd really like to thank you guys for your patience. We have finally gotten the building all completely structured and built up. Daryl is just grabbing a drink at the truck and then he's going to come back over and help. But the whole structure itself is completely set up. The only thing we have not gotten hooked up yet is our electrical. The building does not have power. I was going to try and route the power through the old lines that were at the house, but I just don't like the placement of where that had to go. So we're going to do a little bit of extra work here by pulling up the pipes to the sewage that goes directly into our the rest of the waterways, which is all underneath this the sidewalk. And it's a little bit, actually it's a little bit more like right here. But we're going to take up all of that pipe and block it off from the main system because this place is not going to have like a toilet bathroom system in it. It is just a shop. So we're going to be able to run that power line from right here at the main link, and we'll drop it back and put it right into the side of the workshop directly there. So we got some trenching to do to dig up some pipes. We'll see how well this pans out. I have yet to actually try this, but it should be pretty straightforward. I hope nobody wanted that tree because it does not exist anymore. That was kind of sad. I liked that tree. I'll tell you what though, this definitely beats trying to dig this hole by hand. And technically we could also run the electrical right through this trench because this area, this door does not have any sort of use for it. Like I'm really never going to use this door. I just didn't want to change the building design for like a couple $1,000s, so I saved myself on the design feature. Let's get this thing down and... Oh, yep, I can definitely tell we're getting towards the pipe. Just finish that, and perfect. Rest of it we'll dig up by hand, and then we'll try and connect this directly to that main power line. We'll just need to throw away those last few pieces of the sewage line, so that is not a problem. Digging our small trench to get to the electrical. And that is all she wrote. Power company is scheduled to come out and get us hooked up in the main line and get this building registered on the system. Until they arrive, though, I got some cleaning up to do. And then we will have our brand new shop. I'm so excited. With all good things, there does have to be some sad things. Good news is we did finally get all wired in. We got all of our lines officially buried and trenched back in. So the bad news is that we did have to get a meter on this building. It's mainly due to the fact there was previously a house on this property itself. Even though I do own both of these plots. It is still considered two separate properties, two different zones. So this one will have to have a meter on it. That's just the way it works here. I don't know if that works everywhere else, but that's what we had to do here. But if we come into the shed and we head over to the light switch, we do indeed have life. It is very bright fluorescent lights. I doubt that I'm going to have any problem seeing anything in here. But that is awesome. We'll get these guys taken care of. Kevin even stopped by because he's going to be taking a skid steer home this afternoon. And you guys know what that means. We are going to be going down to the storage unit, and it is officially time to get all of my stuff out of storage and into the new shed. I'm going to close this door up because, like I said, I don't really have any use for this. There was actually a wash bay grate in here. I didn't really notice that in the original design, but this will be the Andy Clean bay then. Anytime we come and wash something off, we dry it off, and we do it right here. Awesome. There's a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it before sundown. Let's get to it. I do still have quite a lot of work to do in really regards to the driveways. They both will have to be concrete. That is one downside to our area. But if that's all I have to really do, then that is definitely what we are going to do. But it doesn't say anything about saving money right now by getting all of my stuff out of these storage units. We got to grab the rental out of the big bay, our race trailer out of this one, and then we got to empty out that whole unit right there. With the amount of storage I had down here, I'm pretty much going to be able to pay for that building. That's not right. The amount of money I was paying in storage, I could easily make back my money on this building. If we do need to keep some things still in storage, that's not going to be a huge problem. But I definitely will not be renting one of these massive units because that's a little overkill. Words really can't describe how excited I am for this. I obviously am going to figure out the organization factor once I get everything shuffled over. But until I get all my ducks in a row, we will catch you guys back when the yard is all finished up and repatched, as well as the driveway's done and everything's been shifted over, and we'll end out the episode. And with everything finally wrapped up on our construction project, I'll give you guys a quick overview of everything that has been done. Some of the patchwork is still going to need to grow in, like around the patio area, since this was all kind of backed up. We got that shed sold to Daryl for a couple $100. He likes it. I like it. But our awning area is looking fantastic walking in. This is going to be the layout for the remainder of its time, probably. But we have our tailgate trailer, our little UMP modified, along with the trusty pressure washer to use some Andy Clean with. Johnny 56 obviously looks a little different than my real life version. Our Grizzly just kind of tucked away in the corner. The Sea-Doo boat, our snowmobiles, the Harley, club car, golf cart, and the yard sprayer. It's kind of all set up to where we can get everything out the doors if we need to at all costs. The camper obviously is tucked away nicely in its big bay. But that is pretty much all there is to it, guys. I absolutely adore this setup. I'm glad that you guys could come along with the adventures. It's really been cool to build this story from the ground up. And now that the homestead is really about as good as it's going to get, I am sad to say this is probably going to be one, if not the last homeowners video from now until FS25. Just don't have that much time to do all the content that is coming out to the channel. So if you guys really do like homeowners series, be sure to smash that like button down below. That's probably going to be all for us today, guys. And remember to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and always keep it fun. I shall see you guys all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out.